Golf Central on YouTube, brought to you by TaylorMade.
7 under 63, one better than yesterday. Phil Mickelson is 13 under for the championship. He is your leader at the halfway stage. Both Rory and Bryson still in this. Rory at 9 under and Bryson at 8 under, but no doubt Phil is the story so far. Let's hear from him after the round.
It's been a while since I've played here. I played last year, not great, but it's been a while since I won back in '02. But I thought that I made some strides in the sense that I didn't try to go toe-to-toe with two of the longest guys in the game, you know, Bryson and Rory. I ended up hitting some 3-woods on some of those holes because it fit my game better. And fortunately, I made a couple of birdies. I'm thinking of like number 7 as an example, where they hit driver and I hit 3-wood and was still able to make birdie. So playing my game and the way the course set up for me was a challenge when you're playing with guys that hit like that. But it allowed me to play some good golf.
You said you didn't try and go toe-to-toe with two of the biggest hitters in golf. Would a younger Phil Mickelson 20 years ago have tried to go toe-to-toe?
Maybe. I mean, I tried in LA to match it with Brooks and Bubba, and those guys are long, and I was trying to swing hard, and I ended up missing the cut, and I ended up not playing well, and I learned from that and said, okay, look, I'm going to play this golf course a certain way. There's some holes I can open it up and try to hit driver, but really I just want to get it and play on a lot of holes and let my wedges take over, and I've hit a lot of good wedge shots this week.
Well, this week marks Phil's 624th start on the PGA Tour and the first time in his career that so far has spanned 3 decades that he has opened a tournament with 2 rounds of 64 or better. He's getting better as he gets older, as we welcome you into our stage here at Cara Banks alongside Golf Channel contributor and Golf Week columnist Eamonn Lynch. Good to have you alongside me this week, Eamonn. I mean, what do you make of today? Is this what you expected from Phil? He's been 7 over in his last 11 rounds, and then it's all of a sudden 64, 63.
I'm not even sure Phil expected this of Phil, but it goes more than just the golf swing that Phil talked about earlier, working on, put himself in this position. I think there's a lot more at play with Phil Mickelson here. He didn't show up at TPC River Highlands because he's getting an AARP discount in the pro shop. And in this group, I think Phil Mickelson wanted to make a point. And he wanted to make that point against 2 of the biggest showboaters on the PGA Tour, that he still has a lot in the tank, that he's here to win a trophy. And let's be honest, the signs weren't great for him before he came here. Phil had missed his last 3 cuts, and you have to go back to 1993 to find the last time Phil Mickelson missed 4 consecutive cuts on the PGA Tour. But right now he's looking closer to a 45th win than certainly a 4th missed cut.
And I have to correct myself, 11 over in his last 7 rounds is what he had been. I find that fascinating about the group. Do you think it helped Phil playing alongside Rory and Bryson this week then?
Yes, because if you remember back when Phil won the WGC Mexico a few years ago, he was positively gleeful that he schooled Justin Thomas in that playoff. He loves trash talking with the younger guys on tour. You saw some of that in the match he played at the Medalist against Tiger a few weeks ago. This is right in Phil Mickelson's wheelhouse, and I actually think it had an effect on the other guys today. Both Rory and Bryson looked kind of out of sorts and antsy out there, and Phil was just showboating along in his aviator shades.
And he's got a good history with this tournament. Let's not forget he's the only back-to-back champion. He had a wonderful time here at the start of the decade in '01 and '02. Didn't play for several years, missed the cut when he returned last year. But in this time of uncertainty, as a player, or really as anyone, if it's your profession, there must be a level of comfort returning to somewhere where you've had the success that he has.
Sure, and he can build on that tomorrow because he's out there with 2 virtual rookies. I mean, obviously Mackenzie Hughes has won on the tour, but Will Gordon has played, I believe it's 22 or 23 rounds on the PGA Tour. Phil has twice that many trophies on the PGA Tour, so it's not even a fair fight, and that's actually could help Phil Mickelson tomorrow. When he gets out there, he's going to be the big dog in the pound tomorrow, so it's quite possible Phil might actually distance himself even further in this group, but he's certainly the guy to beat right now.
2,163 PGA Tour rounds for Phil Mickelson. For Will Gordon, 22. So, yeah, a little bit of a comparison there. I have to say, though, Phil has only converted 1 of his previous 5 36-hole leads. So we'll see what he manages to do over the weekend.
I think I'm just trying to play my game and believe in myself. I've kind of really been able to have, over COVID, I've had some time to kind of restructure some things and work on some things. So I think just believing in myself and knowing that I can play out here, I've had some good finishes, but I felt like I'm ready to compete at the top.
What has steeled that belief in yourself, given the uncertainty with when you'll get playing opportunities?
Yeah, I think that just controlling what I can control. I can't control when I get a start, when I don't, and with COVID, it's taught all of us that we're not really in control of what's going on. So I think once I've got my starts, I just got to be free and go play to win.
So it would have been a pretty smooth roadmap for Will Gordon. He had medaled in the PGA Tour Canada qualifying school a year ago, so played on the PGA Tour Canada in 2019. Then got some starts this fall on the PGA Tour, a top 10 at the RSM Classic, a couple top 25 finishes beyond that. So would have had, hypothetically speaking, enough points to get into the Korn Ferry Finals, but that's been pushed back a year. So his playing opportunity to elevate beyond PGA Tour Canada has been pushed back a year as well. So he's trying to make the most of it, see if he can get on a bit of a hot streak with these couple more sponsors invites he has beyond this week to see if he can earn enough points to be a special temporary member on the PGA Tour. Otherwise, it's go through the same route next year and try and then gear up for what would be the Korn Ferry Finals.
It was kind of a... Yeah, I mean, it felt a lot different than 60. Overall, I was fairly pleased. I thought I played pretty tricky this afternoon. The wind was all over the place, kind of swirling. And, yeah, just got really firm. So, the golf ball was traveling a long way. And once I hit the ground, it was rolling pretty far. So, yeah, overall, fairly pleased. I would have liked to have been a little bit tidier and didn't putt great from, 10 to 15 feet. Didn't really make many of those today, which I was making yesterday. So, but all in all, pretty pleased.
Well, he did produce the lowest first round in tournament history yesterday, so he did kind of set the bar pretty high as we welcome you back into our perch here, Cara Banks, alongside Eamonn Lynch. And, he mentioned the putter, and it's actually quite staggering when you look at the numbers. You've got to have a hot putt when you're shooting a round of 60, but yesterday he holed just over 143 feet of putts. Today it was less than 70 feet, so that perhaps where the difference between the 60 and the 68 comes around. But it's always going to be hard to follow up a career round like that, isn't it?
Sure, and I think we should give him credit for following up a great round with a solid round, because Mackenzie Hughes is kind of upending the numbers of his entire season here, because it's actually been a pretty lousy run he's been on up until this point. His second place finish at the Honda is his only top 50 finish on the PGA Tour this year. And, he's lagging in a lot of the statistical categories, but he got out there and he actually put together what can only be described as pretty solid follow-up to a round of 60.
And it's interesting when you look at what's going to happen now with them being threesomes off two tees because of that weather. He will be in that final group with Phil Mickelson and Will Gordon. And actually, because of Will's situation as a sponsor exemption, Mackenzie's probably going to feel like the middleman. He's obviously not going to be the crowd favourite if there was one, but there is no crowd here. Everyone will be watching Phil. But also, he perhaps won't feel as overawed by the situation as maybe Will might.
Perhaps not. He is a winner on the PGA Tour, but this is very much a kings and cobblers kind of pairing we have going out last tomorrow. But Mackenzie Hughes would be the perfect winner of a pandemic-era golf tournament. His mother is a nurse in Canada. She is a frontline worker. But he's got to upend a lot of history to get there, because three guys have led this championship in its previous 68 iterations by 3 strokes after the first round, and none of them have ever actually gone on to win it. The last guy to be in that position to do so was Corey Pavin in 2004, so let's hope for the best for Mackenzie Hughes.
Still trying to play like the casino. I mean, I've played my worst golf past couple days, and I'm still up there. I'm just trying to play, and look, I might play worse tomorrow, I might play better tomorrow, I have no idea. It's just one of those things where I don't even feel like my A game is there, and I have putts lipping out on the edges left and right. It's unbelievable. I feel like I'm executing the shots I want to. It's just coming out weird. And so that's been the mystery my whole life with wedging. I don't know why. That's been the one thing. And the putting is that's just a game that I feel like I'm making a great stroke, great speed, and the putts are lipping out. It seems like there's just a whole seal over the hole.
Billy, he's 11th in the world. Just a big picture. To close the gap on Rory, who's number 1, he needs to improve in what areas?
I would say the wedge play. I think he hit it right on the button right there. He said the wedges have always been a mystery, and when you start looking at players, and you go all the way back to Tiger, when he first came out on tour, the wedges were a problem. He spun them too much, and so he had to adapt. Justin Thomas the same way. Once they kind of figure out the speed of delivery into the golf ball, turf contact, just how far that ball is going, when they become a good wedge player, that's when they become that top player in the world.
With respect to the driver, what, if any, concerns do you have about his physical well-being going forward?
I think he's researched it to the nth degree, and I have no concerns whatsoever.
Okay, so keep hitting it forever then.
Exactly.
Just keep going after it.
I mean, he understands that the best opportunity he has is to go ahead and take it deeper and get closer to the green and put the wedges. So what do you need to tidy up next? The wedges. We saw Dustin Johnson climb to the top of the world in world golf with good wedge play. That's what Bryson needs to do.
Some other news that developed this morning, another player tested positive for COVID-19. It was Denny McCarthy, and he was arguably very responsible after noticing some symptoms last night, got tested first thing this morning, and once the report came back, he promptly withdrew from the tournament. For more on what took place, let's welcome in our George Savarikas, who's been covering this all week long. George, what can you tell us about how this all took place?
Yeah, Cara, you know that was a big part of the pre-tournament discussions on Tuesday and Wednesday with those other positive tests for Denny McCarthy. It all kind of unfolded after his opening 67. Let's take a look at the statement that he texted me this morning. That's when he officially broke the news that he was going to have to withdraw from the Travelers Championship. He said, "I was feeling pretty tired and sore after the round yesterday. Didn't think much of it. I'd practiced a lot Monday to Wednesday. Then I woke up the middle of last night feeling more sore and achy and sensed something was off. Feel like the only thing to do was to get tested at that point before I went to the course." So Denny McCarthy taking the proper steps to not come on site if he had any symptoms of COVID-19. Ultimately, he tested positive. The other two players that were supposed to be in that tee time at 1:30 Eastern time, Bud Cauley and Matt Wallace. Bud Cauley was tested twice for COVID-19. Both came back negative, but he said he just wanted to be cautious, so he decided to withdraw from the Travelers Championship. So it set up the very odd scene that you almost never see on the PGA Tour. That's a single going off as part of the afternoon wave. For Matt Wallace, here's his take on being stuck in that scenario, as well as how this whole situation unfolded for him on Friday.
The tour did everything they could. They kept me out of the warm-up area. They kept me out of the clubhouse. So I was just waiting until I got my test back, and then I tested negative, and I was able to go and practice and prep. But yeah, to say the least, that some people thought that I may have been positive and they stayed well clear isn't a nice feeling. Let's put it that way. I'm playing with a chance to change my career if I win. So why wouldn't I play? It's black and white for me, is that I tested negative and I can go play. Just a bit frustrated that maybe, I don't know what the PGA Tour might think, but would DJ play on his own? Would Rory play on his own? Would probably doubt it. So they could have dropped one of the players back from in front or someone from behind to maybe go ahead and play with me. Just don't think it was a great move to leave someone out on their own in the middle of the pack. I don't think I should be in any way a negative here. I don't think I should be put in that spotlight at all. I've done everything else like any other player has done, and I've tested negative, so I'm in the same boat that they are. It's just the fact that the playing partners that I had yesterday felt ill last night with whatever they did from leaving us on the golf course, because I'm guessing they tested negative at the start of the week, to now, where I'm still negative as well. So it's a strange one. I completely understand the question and stuff, but no, I don't believe I should be put in that spotlight at all, because I'm the same as everyone else.